Welcome to CSEC Biology TCP. I am Mr. Wilson from TCP Academy. We have been having little issues with the internet. It tends to happen every time about this time of the evening. We do apologize for the issues, but there is not much that we can do. We are not the service provider, but we try our best. We're going to be here to cover all that we have planned to cover. So we suggest to those persons who are joining not to cover. All will be fine. We're going to be getting there. We're going to be getting it done. So no need to worry. All right. So and then the internet service might go, but if it goes, we will just send a new link and start over. And I think it's probably a nice idea that we're starting over because we pretty much started on a note that, of course, I wouldn't have wanted to start with. So I'm happy for the opportunity to start over. Not many times we get the opportunity to start over. So now we are given the opportunity to start over. We can do it much better and we can have a happier go at it. All right, so we are going to continue. We have no control over the internet. It tend to come, it tend to go, that type of a thing. We hope that I will be well moving forward. I'm still trying to do some work here in the back end. So it's like we're starting all over again. It's like that. Trust me, it's like every time we start, there's a lot of settings that we have to change here in order to send you the feed the way we want to send it. All right, so just invite your friends to come on over. Tell them that the internet is back, and of course, they can just rejoin. We're going to wait on them somewhat to rejoin so that we can get started. The other live, I think it should be down. We did private it because we didn't want a confusion. So we're thinking that that live should be down, but we're still seeing it saying live. There is not much that I can do to that, but of course, we would have tried. All right, great. So we are back over here and we're still waiting on everyone to come back. All right, so great. So we're here just to remind you as we wait on the others to rejoin. The topics for the exam tomorrow. First, I was told that the exam will start at 1 o'clock, which means that you have to be at the exam before 1 o'clock. Now, the topics that will be covered, you are going to be given 6 topics. Living organism and the environment, we covered that last night. The skeletal system, we covered that last night. Excretion and homeostasis, we covered that last night as well. Reproductive system, we covered that last night as well. This morning, tonight we're going to be doing some past paper. We want to look a little bit at heredity and variation. And of course, we're going to top it off again with some past paper. So we've been waiting on persons to rejoin. We really don't want to leave anybody behind. So we're trying our best to see how best we can, of course, have everybody on board so that once we get going, the train is pretty much heading in the right direction. You are watching CSEC Biology TCP, which is our YouTube channel. I am Mr. Wilson. The paid version of our channel is the TCP Academy, and there you can sign up for your classes for biology and HSB come September. For persons who are doing labs for biology and HSB, you will also be able to get some assistance over there. So I strongly suggest that you make your way over there should you be doing the exam next year or in the future. If you are in grade 10 or you would have differed, you can choose that option as well. So we're looking at reproduction as we did this morning. We started that way, and we are going to continue with the questions that we were looking at. Now, we started out looking at what is abortion. We didn't look at abortion. Yes, we defined the term abortion. Then we looked at naturally occurring abortion. And then we also went into, I think we were supposed to explain. No, we're going to the third question now. Having looked at miscarriage, the same thing as spontaneous abortion. Now we are going to explain why abortion is not a contraceptive. I think we did that as well. Now, yes, it is true that abortion is not a contraceptive because abortion terminates a pregnancy while a while contraceptive prevents the pregnancy. So abortion will terminate the pregnancy, while contraceptive will, of course, prevent the pregnancy. Then there was another question we had to look at. State one disadvantage of having medical abortion and give one instance where medical abortion may be considered uh, necessary. Now, in order to answer that question, the first thing that we need to do, we need to look at what is abortion. What is medical abortion, that is. So tell me in the chat, what's medical abortion? What's medical abortion? Medical abortion. So you're going to tell me what's medical abortion, because if you don't know what is medical abortion, then you will not be able to answer the question. Let's look at what is, of course, medical abortion first. Medical abortion is taking a pill to terminate pregnancy. So it's pretty much taking medication to terminate pregnancy. All right, so we would have had that. Now, disadvantage, let me look at the disadvantage of medical abortion. A lot coming in here. I'm going to slow the screen down a little bit. I'm looking at Campbell. So disadvantage is that you can have infertility problem. One instance where it would be necessary is because of certain types of health problem, or if the child have any severe disability. Right? That is the answer, seem to be spot on. Having a medical abortion can cause serious health problem, as it may prevent the female from having children in the future. A medical abortion may be necessary if something is wrong with the offspring, whatever there. All right, nothing is there. All right, great. So those were some plausible answers. Let me look at Williams here. Medical abortion may cause the woman to get infection, especially if the procedure is not okay, Williams. So now we get it, so we are going to pause. Williams, you don't know what is medical abortion. So now I'm going to ask you to distinguish between medical abortion and surgical abortion. All right? And that is why we started out by trying to find out what is medical abortion, because once persons hear medical abortion, the first thing that comes to mind is doctor, a scissors, a suction, thing like that. So we have to get that clear. So when when medicines are prescribed, drugs are used to bring about an abortion. So Amor, yes, you are right. So what is surgical abortion? Surgical use surgery, while medicinal use medicine. All right. We can be a little graphic. What is the surgery? What's the surgery like? Let me see this. Of a baby, surgical termination of pregnancy, blah, blah, blah. All right, great. I don't know. My headspace is just not here. All right, great. So those answers are correct. I'm going to move on. I'm using the 2019 paper. So we're not doing question number. We're not doing the rest of a question. We're not doing the rest of the question. We are jumping on to question number 2. And question number 2, we are going to answer this question. If you have a 2019 HSB paper, I think it's the May-June paper that we're using. Osmosis, diffusion, and active transport are all important processes that occurs in living system. State 2 similarities between osmosis and diffusion. So we gave you a video earlier, and that would have all the answers for that. So 2 similarities between osmosis and diffusion. Type that in the chat for me. We want to know about 2 similarities between osmosis, and diffusion. So of course, osmosis and diffusion is from section A of the syllabus. So we're testing all parts of the syllabus tonight with the 3 past papers that we're going to be using. So that should give you enough practice to get in there for the exam. So let me see here. All right, they both have cells moving from, Ali, you need to revisit that. Osmosis and diffusion both move from high concentration to low concentration. I don't understand. What is moving? What is moving? Is it the osmosis moving? Is it the diffusion moving? What is moving? All right. Movement of particles. So these are incompleted stuff. Both are passive transport. All right. So both are passive transport. They both include molecules moving from high concentration to low concentration. That is indeed a nice answer, Baptiste. Let's move right along. Both occur without energy. So that is, of course, meaning that they are passive. Both are passive transport, and both include molecules moving from high concentration to low concentration. All right, great. I think that was good. Your answer must be along that line. We identified 2, and those could use to gauge your response. Now, we're also supposed to look at outline 1 difference between osmosis and active transport. Outline 1 difference between osmosis and active transport. So identify a difference there is between osmosis and active transport. Lawrence, you can't just say move down a transport, move down a concentration gradient, because I really don't know what you're talking about. I think it's May, June. June. Osmosis is the movement of particles through a semi-permeable membrane, while diffusion, we're past that. Osmosis is a movement of molecule, while active transport is pretty much moving ions and molecule. Interesting. All right, active transport need energy to be completed, while osmosis does not. So that is a popular answer for most persons who know anything about active transport and osmosis. They are going to run on to the energy requirement. And if not the energy requirement, persons are going to look at the fact that active transport moves against the concentration gradient, while osmosis moves along the concentration gradient. So those are going to be the 2 popular answers, the easiest one. While osmosis is a passive transport, so it's following the concentration gradient, the active transport is like going up the hill. And you would have seen that in the video that you would have watched earlier. Great. Now, this is a question. I don't think that this is a CXC question. I honestly think that this is a CAPE level question. However, CXC is going to say, I gave them options, so it can be on the paper. I will read. In which of these processes, osmosis, diffusion, active transport, is a protein carrier used? So which of these use a protein carrier? Is it used during diffusion? Is it used during active transport? Is it used during osmosis? If I were you, I would just guess the answer here, because I don't think you need to know about that and the charge of particles and tricking the cell and all of that. So if I were you, I just guess it. So we're looking at a protein carrier. No, the answer is not active transport. If I be honest with you, that was the first thing that came to my mind. The answer is, of course, diffusion. The answer is diffusion. All right. So you could look at facilitated diffusion. The protein carrier is an example of what we refer to as facilitated diffusion. The diffusion that you would have been doing in your classes is what they refer to as simple diffusion. But when we have this protein carrier, it is pretty much referred to as facilitated diffusion. So the answer there is diffusion. Now, I hope that you have a copy of the paper. I am going to be showing you something. This is a real, I think it's a big mistake by CXC on a paper. It is a mistake that you will never be able to answer any of the questions here based on the paper. So if you are looking at this diagram, I'm going to point out something to you. If you observe here, that's B, right? And if you observe here, it gives you some instruction what's happening at B. But if you come up here and read the instruction here, you will realize that what is at B should actually be at A. So if that is the case, you are not going to be able to answer any part of this question because it is not properly structured. So I'm going to read it. This is a big error from CXC if I am seeing it correct, but I'm going to read it for you and you can make your own judgment. So this is what it says. It says, a student performed an experiment to investigate the movement of distilled water through potato tissue using the apparatus shown in figure 2. Listen, it says potato A was boiled while potato B was not boiled. However, if you look at the diagram, there's a diagram. It said that A was boiled. If you look at the diagram, in the diagram, it is showing that B was actually boiled. All right? So we will have to formulate our own question for this because this was a big error on the 2019 paper. I don't know if anybody saw it, but I have never heard about it, and it is indeed an error. So I think I'm just going to up over that. Probably we'll look at that tomorrow. Have you seen it? Anybody with that paper? So A was not boiled. So what is the instruction at the top? What is your instruction? My paper is saying that potato A was boiled, but the diagram is saying something different. Your paper is saying that it was not boiled? Because if your paper is saying that it was not boiled, then we could have the conversation. All right. Same as yours. Okay, so you are seeing the error on the paper. All right, so it is true that sometimes the CXC papers do have error, and that is an error that will affect the entire question. Everything in that question will be affected by that error. Now, let us look at this one. We're at question number 4 now. Water is necessary for life. However, too much or too little water in the diet can cause problems to develop within the body. Now, the first question there, you are supposed to name the excretory organ that is responsible for regulating. I hope you can see me. All right. All right, great. So you are supposed to name the excretory organ responsible for regulating the volume of water in the body. The excretory organ that is responsible for regulating the water in the body. Name that for me. All right, many persons would have had that correct. It's the kidney. All right, next question. Identify 2 other excretory organs which remove water from the body and state each of the excretory product that contains water. All right, so we're on the second question now. We are looking at 2 other organs that would, of course, excrete water, and you are supposed to tell us the excretory product that contains that water. So we start out with the skin and the lungs, but how do they excrete this water? How is it contained? No. Just to say the skin is not enough. The lungs, water vapor, that is correct. Tell us about the skin. Tell us about the skin. So the skin would, of course, have water in the sweat. Great. And of course, water vapor will be coming there from the lungs. Anything else? Any other organ? So for the skin, we would have water all contained in the sweat. If we're talking about the lungs, water would be coming out as vapor. And if we're talking about the alimentary canal, we would have water coming out along with the feces. Great. Let's look at the other question. Alex and Anna love to play during break time at school. As a result, their bodies generate large amount of heat and their body temperature rise. So the body generates a lot of heat and the body temperature rise. All right, listen to your question. Explain the difference between body heat and body temperature. Now listen to what was asked. You are going to tell us the difference between body heat and of course body temperature. Tell us the difference between body heat and body temperature. Tell us the difference between body heat and body temperature. If you like what we do here, please be reminded to like, give it a thumbs up, share, and of course, subscribe. All right, if you like what we do here, please give it a thumbs up. Please like it. Remember to subscribe. And when you subscribe, click that notification bell and select all so that you will be advised whenever there is a new publication or whenever the system crash and we have to reset the system. All right, let us look at what is happening here. Okay, body heat is the total amount of energy the body contains. Body temperature is the amount of, the body temperature is a move from hot, from how hot or how cold the body. Let me look at something a little easier. Body heat is the amount of energy the body contains, and body temperature is a measure of how hot or cold the body is. Saying the same thing, but just a little easier. All right. The question was not asking about heat and temperature, you know. It's fine for you to know about heat and temperature, but now we're asking about body heat. We are being very specific about body heat. So Ali, you probably want to revisit what you have. Body heat is a form of energy, and body temperature tell you how hot or cold. I think I like the hot or cold part, but for me, body heat is a form of energy that is given off by the process of respiration, while temperature is how hot or cold the body is. So body heat is a form of energy that is pretty much given off by respiration, while temperature is how hot or cold the body is. Now, the other question that we have here, name the structure in the body which acts as a thermostat to keep the body temperature constant. So name the structure in the body that acts as a thermostat to keep the body temperature constant. Keep going, I am looking. Everyone has a voice in it, so just keep typing. I'll search for what I want. All right, so melanin is not there. Melanin shouldn't be there. Melanin, it shouldn't. Keep typing. I'm not only looking for right answers, I'm also looking for misconceptions. All right, so just keep typing. All right, great. So the answer that we are looking for, no, it is not the skin. Great. I like your answer though, but it is not the skin and it is not melanin. It is indeed the hypothalamus. All right. So your answer there is the hypothalamus. All right, so don't mind me. You might have the right answer there, and I might not say anything because I want to see what are the views of other persons. Now we're going to be looking at the other question, and we're still on excretion. Explain the process by which the body temperature of Alex and Anna returns to normal after they played during recess. So explain that process in which the body temperature return to normal. Before you explain the process, tell me the name of the process. What is the name of the process? Give me the name of the process, then you can tell me about the process. You are watching CSEC Biology TCP with Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson live. We are streaming from Kingston, Jamaica in the Caribbean, and we're having a grand time trying to get ready for the HSB paper tomorrow. All right, so there we have a lot of things on the screen. We have vasodilation, we have vasoconstriction, we have sweating, we have respiration, we have negative feedback mechanism, we have aerobic respiration, we have corrective mechanism. All right, great. So stop typing now for me, please. Great, 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 great. Wonderful answers. So let us go back through thermoregulation. A lot of things said here. All right, great. So let us just see if we can just tear them apart. All right. Vasoconstriction means that the blood vessels become smaller. Great. Respiration means that energy is given off. All right. A negative feedback mechanism, that is a big container of a lot of things, of which this could fall in, but what exactly? Sweating is a part of the process that we are looking for. Aerobic respiration falls under the whole topic, respiration. Corrective mechanism, sweat, negative feedback. That is not what we're looking for. The answer we're looking for that particular question is vasodilation. So now you're going to tell me about vasodilation. How does it work? How does it work to bring back the temperature to normal or to cool these persons? Tell me about vasodilation. So while we talk about vasodilation, remember that vasoconstriction, the body will use vasoconstriction in order to become cool, to become hot. But of course, vasodilation is in order to cool the body. We want to make sure that we understand that. All right, so their body can cool itself by sweating. When sweat evaporates, it lowers the temperature and send more blood to the skin and their arm, legs, and so on, so forth, so forth. I have seen this answer, and it says that this is a common sense answer. Yes, you have scored some mark with a common sense answer, but guess what? We're looking for more than that. I want you to explain in detail the vasodilation process. I want everything on the vasodilation process. I'm sure that we looked at that in one of the live that we have done. All right, so vasodilation, explain the entire process in getting these two students cool. So the capillary, let me just try something here. I don't know, it seems as if you don't understand or know about vasodilation. Usually when you know, I'm getting a lot of nice right answers, not beating around the bush. Vasodilation is when, all right, just let me try and find one. I'm trying to find one that works. Vasodilation is when is the widening of your blood vessels. It happens when all right, stop and let me tell you, because obviously you guys don't, or most persons don't have a good grasp of it. Vasodilation is one of that thing that would fall within a negative feedback mechanism, where the blood vessels dilate, or the capillaries to this are closer to the surface of the skin, they will dilate in an effort to bring the heat in the blood quickly to the surface, thus having it leaving the body. The sweat pores will open, bringing along with the sweat heat that is, of course, when it evaporates from the surface of the skin. The air that is on the skin, it will pretty much lie down or lay down and allow air to flow over the skin to allow easy evaporation of the sweat, thus taking heat with it. All right. So we have, in that case, what is going to happen is that the person is going to appear to a little flush. What flush means? The skin might appear to be red because the blood vessels are flowing close to, the blood vessels are now very close to the skin. The blood is flowing close to the skin so as to cool the body. So we are going to be sweating. The blood vessels are going to be close to the skin. The air on the skin is going to be all lying down so that air can flow over, and that will, of course, help to cool the individual. So I was listening to hear what will happen to the blood vessels. I was listening to hear what will happen to the air. I was listening to hear what will happen to the sweat and the sweat pores. All right, so pretty much. Now, this is something else that we have to look at. We want to look at this part of the question. The human body functions best at 37 degrees Celsius. Alex become very cold in the air-conditioned classroom and begins to shiver, starts to shake. All right, explain how his body response is an example. Sorry, explain how his body response is an example of a negative feedback mechanism. All right, so this time you are going to give your explanation as to what the body is doing to cool, to get this person warm. You are going to now use a negative feedback mechanism to explain this. So before, we did not use a negative feedback mechanism to explain it. We use vasodilation. Now we're expected to use the negative feedback mechanism to explain how this person, what is happening, why is the shivering taking place? Yes, we know that shivering produces heat, but we want to hear everything that is around the negative feedback mechanism. That would nicely fall under vasoconstriction. We want to hear everything. So shivering occurs, generate heat, and help the body. All right, so they did ask you for the negative feedback mechanism. So shivering is just one thing. So what they wanted to hear is that no sweat is produced. So no sweat is producing. The blood vessels are pretty much constricted. So now they are deep into the skin. And of course, the air on the skin will now be erect in order to trap air, in order to insulate the skin. Now, while this is happening, the body is going to shiver, because shivering is one of those automatic reflex action that is going to generate a whole lot of heat in the body. So pretty much those are the things that we are looking for as we speak about that negative feedback mechanism, trying to bring back that temperature to 37 degrees Celsius. These are some things that are going to happen under the negative feedback mechanism. There will be no sweat will be produced, the blood vessels will constrict, and they are going to be deep down into the skin, so the body will appear to be cool this time, not flush as it was before. Shivering will take place, and the whole process is considered to be vasoconstriction. All right, and that is, of course, detected by the hypothalamus in the brain. It is telling us how hot or cold we are. All right, so we move on with the lesson. We are now at question number 6. Question number 6. And again, we're going to go to the video that you were using earlier in the show. Here we go. Governments are trying to find new ways of replacing resources, but that will eventually become scarce. As a result, methods are being developed to conserve existing resource. List the 3 methods by which resources can be conserved and state 1 example of each. I'm looking, please keep going. Keep going, I'm looking. So the 3 R's, I'm seeing reuse, reduce, recycle. But if you observe, that is just a part of the answer. That is only 3 marks you would have garnered out of the 6. Let me read the question again. Let me read the question again for you to get that 6 marks. List 3 methods by which resources can be conserved and state 1 example of each. So yes, to reduce, to reuse, to recycle, all that is good, but we need an example of each. Recycling plastic, we don't know what that means. All right, reduce, use email. All right, so let me just try to get one. All right, reuse, to use resource again. Example, glass bottles. You'll use a glass bottle. You probably could use that to fill, refill like we do the soda bottle. You're sending them back to get them filled to, of course, be used again. And then we could look at reduce, cut down on the purchase and use of material. Example, shopping bags. You really don't want to go to the shop to buy bags. That is a way that we are reducing. All right. Recycle. Now, one thing about recycling, it is the least efficient of the 3 because recycling also add pollutant while we are trying to recycle. So recycling is, of course, reprocessing of a resource into a new product. So for example, we would melt plastic to make things like molds, or you could melt the plastic to make a flower pot or make it into something else. And you understand while melting the plastic, we are also adding pollutant. So this answer here from Baptiste would have been nicer down the line of what we are looking for. Now, the other answer, other question is going to be the growth of a population has led to an increase in waste production. Various Caribbean countries have created landfills to deal with the challenge. Now, we did not do this, but probably common sense can help you to answer, or some persons probably would have done this before. This is what we're tasked with. Outline 3 ways in which the environment may be negatively affected by the activities occurring at a landfill. So you are going to tell us 3 disadvantages of a landfill, or tell us 3 negatives that are pretty much associated with a landfill. We are looking at the 2019 May-June paper, 2019 May-June paper 2. 2019 May June paper 2, and we are only answering the questions on it that are pertinent to the exam paper. We have not answered the osmosis question because that question has some error there. I could ask you questions around it, but the entire question is flawed. And again, I search for an answer that can be used, everyone can use. What's happening now? All right, great. So I am seeing Williams, Tavari Williams, but you have just given two, and the two that you gave, they are really, really wonderful. I'll just expound on that while I am going to be searching for others. So we're looking at problems that are associated with landfill. Williams is saying that greenhouse gases that escape from landfill may enhance global warming. And we should understand by now that methane, CH4, naturally emanates from things that are in the process of decomposition. So the methane coming from the landfill, that could, of course, assist in enhancing global warming, making the earth become hotter. Then there are chemicals that emanate as things are decomposing. You know, this liquid portion, we call it leachate. Now, this leachate could, of course, get into the groundwater, and that could cause some amount of problem. And that is why we are saying not dumps, but landfill, because had it been a landfill, it would have had a catchment to collect the leachate. But yes, Williams, that's a wonderful attempt. You need to give me the third point. All right. Now, I'm looking at Campbell. Campbell is saying that it attracts rodents and cause flooding, more disease like leptospirosis. I am not too certain how a landfill would cause flooding, but probably you could expound on that, but I'm not too sure. Greenhouse gases that escape from the landfill may enhance global warming. Possible air pollution cause illness. Very good. You could have other things from the landfill. You are going to have gases that are coming from the landfill based on the things that are dumped at the landfill. And these could, of course, cause some amount of air pollution. There are cases where the landfill could catch fire as a result of the activities there. And then you are going to have the particulates that are going to be in the atmosphere. When you inhale these particulates, they could have dire consequences as a result of the inhalation of the particulates in the air. Now, using hazardous waste can leak into the, yes, we spoke about that. So a landfill could cause flooding because garbage may be carried from there by animals and be left on the road. Okay, I can see through that, but that's a low possibility with a properly run landfill. But I do understand the concept there. Thanks. All right. Dangerous Dangerous bacteria are used to break down the refuse. Uh, it's not every landfill. You must have some landfill with some amount of money to manage that type of a thing. All right, so we have parts of a landfill that you are going to have biodegradable material, but there are always going to be parts of the material that part of the landfill that there are other content that are non-biodegradable. But we got some nice answers here. I particularly like the greenhouse concept. I particularly like the leachate from the landfill. I also like the whole idea that landfill, despite we are doing the compaction of the landfill, yet we are going to have the possibility exists that we are going to be having rodents entering the landfill. We are going to having like mosquito There's always that possibility there, despite our best effort. So those are some real good points that you have looked at. Where we spoke about the landfill will, of course, give off gases, and these gases might be flammable, and they could have dire consequences if burned, and the particulate get into the air. There's also the pungent odor that pretty much comes from the landfill that will pretty much affect persons who are pretty much within the close proximity of the landfill. And of course, this could cause them to become ill and all that. So landfills are really, really not the safest thing. The disadvantage here with landfill is that landfills can't be too far away from the area that the garbage is being collected, or else it's going to be a really, really pricey commodity, and then your land tax and all those stuff are going to be going up. Somebody can send that paper, please. Oh, wow, that is a high ask. I don't know if anyone can. All right, so we are going to move on now, and we are looking at this, and those are some good questions. All right, you want to look at the 2019 paper and see if you could get those answered. Some nice questions. Things might repeat looking like that. All right, the common use of non-biodegradable plastic bags. I hope that everyone would know or have an appreciation as to what the word biodegradable means, what the word non-biodegradable means. I do hope that you have that appreciation. All right, so we're looking now at non-biodegradable plastic bags. Has led to an increase in the volume of waste in the environment. Hence the reason we ban these bags in Jamaica. So they are not biodegradable, and they're just all about the place giving for a problem. Now, this is what we're tasked with. Suggest 3 ways in which non-biodegradable plastic could negatively impact living organisms and their environment. So we are looking at 3 ways in which these plastic bags could negatively impact living organisms and their environment. So you're going to tell me about that. Biodegradable means that it can be broken down by microorganisms, and this time you're going to start using that word decomposer because it's one of those nice words for your exam. Let me look at Williams. They contaminate soil and water resource as they cannot be decomposed, or if they do, then we still have some smaller residue of plastic. When accidentally eaten by animal, can harm animal. That's 2. And then 3, plastics in large water bodies can strangle water animals to death. All right, so all those are plausible reasons. Let me see if there are anybody else, if we have anybody else with any reason here. Animals can consume the plastic, and they can choke on the plastic and it will kill them. Of course, the plastic bag will definitely cause some amount of flooding as they block the storm drain. So flooding will, of course, affect your environment. Persons might lose life and property. They cannot be decomposed. Therefore, I'm not too sure. Therefore, what? Non-biodegradable bags can get into the ocean and trap the sea creatures. You are HSB student. I don't know if you have ever heard about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. You can write it down and look at the dangers of plastic or garbage in the water. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is the size of pollutant in the sea larger than the size of Jamaica. All right, if plastic are released in water, the organisms in the water will think it's food and they could choke on it. So we would have seen where plastic would have choked organism, plastic being consumed by the organism, and it caused them to feel as if they really don't want anything to eat, and they really die sometime thereafter because they are not eating because they feel that they have food in. And of course, you understand that this could, of course, drive organism into what we refer to as the extinction vortex, or it might pretty much place these organisms on the edge of becoming extinct, depending on the level of pollutant. The other thing is that I don't know if you've ever seen enough plastic bag on a tree to stop the tree from carrying out photosynthesis. Or if you have enough plastic bag on a water body, what it will do, it will block the sunlight, preventing light from getting to those aquatic plants, and then eventually the aquatic plant will die, and those herbivores that are in the water, they will have to migrate, or they will pretty much die because there's no food for them to eat. So plastic bags can be really, really dangerous. Another thing about plastic bags is that they will destroy habitat. They could destroy habitat. So of course they are very, very bad. So we spoke about suffocation. We spoke about organisms eating them. We spoke about the plastic bag pretty much causing organisms to become deformed. And we also spoke about the plastic bag causing flooding. And we also spoke about it being able to block the sunlight and pretty much cause aquatic life to die. And of course, life on land, if we have enough plastic, that could affect it as well. Another thing about plastic bags is that they tend to store water. So when it rains, they might store water, and then we have the breeding site created for mosquito. So a whole lot of reasons there why we wouldn't want to be using plastic bag. That takes us to the end of that paper for 2019. The osmosis question is there. You can feel free to go on over and look at the osmosis question. We're now going to be looking at the 2018 paper. And the 2018 paper, I'm going to be showing you some diagrams, and you are going to be answering. The first question we're going to start with is question number 2, that has to do with the reproductive system. Remember, we're only looking at the questions, that there is some possibility of that question appearing on the paper come tomorrow. All right? So we looked at plastic and plastic, biodegradable, non-biodegradable material. You have to look at that. Use of resource, that is like section E of your syllabus, the part of the syllabus that we're not going to be touching. So you want to ensure that you have a good grasp of that. So we gave you some questions just testing what's happening. So we're going to be looking at the 2018 paper, and I really don't remember if it's the May, June, or the January, but I will show you question number 2. Looks like this. So we are looking at the female reproductive organ, and you're asked to identify A and B. So you are supposed to identify A and B. Isn't this easy? Now, let me read the question there. It says you are supposed to complete the following table by inserting the name and by inserting name and one function of each labeled region. So this morning we looked at the reproductive system. Now you are going to be identifying A and B, and you are going to be telling the function of them both. There we go. Identify A and B. Remember, to identify A and B, you must say A is this and B is that. All right, you can't just type things in the chat, because I'm seeing 2 things in the chat. One says vagina and ovaries, and the other one says ovary and vagina. So which is the ovary, which is the vagina, I don't know. The ovary and the uterus, I don't know. What exactly are we talking about? Which is A, which is B, I don't know. So you have to answer the question along that line. Just let me just show this. Kat would have answered here, and we want to look at this answer. I'm trying to show your answer, Kat. All right, so where it is. I did show it just now. All right. All right, great. So there's Scott. He says that A is the ovary. A is the ovary, and it produces ovum, and B is the vagina. It allows for the passage of unborn baby. But better yet, what the vagina does, it is pretty much that receptacle that pretty much accepts the male reproductive organ, the penis, and allows for ejaculation for pregnancy. All right. So we want to look at that. It's not just a passage for that, but pay attention to the whole idea. Why I'm using the penis is because that area would have been specially suited for some contraction for that ejaculation. So that is why I am using that particular example and not just as a passage. All right, great. So that was good. I think that was very quick. If you were supposed to answer the question that fast, you would be good. Now, we looked at this diagram this morning. We looked at this diagram this morning, but we didn't really answer the question because it was early days yet. So now you are supposed to identify C and D. All right, so we are looking at fertilization and implantation, and you are going to be answering C and D. So what is C? What is D? Of course, please forgive me, but I really can't answer to all the questions or all the responses here. So what we do, we just try to find a response that is suitable, and we ask that you map your response to the one that we would have found and pretty much gauge yourself as to where you are with your preparation. Now, there are some persons that are posting comments and you are not seeing anything. Why you are not seeing anything is because Google would have flagged, YouTube would have flagged anything that has to do with vagina and ovary. So I have to give the privilege for persons to see. And sometimes it takes a little time for me to open that lock that other persons can see your work. All right, so a lot of persons would have had their works flagged, but that's fine. All right, so now I have a frozen screen. So let us look at something else now. So what it says here is that we're supposed to name the process that are occurring at the area labeled C and D. So we're supposed to name the processes that are occurring at C and D. So let us look at this. This is lesson time now. So this is in the fallopian tube. What processes occurring in the fallopian tube? If you look closely, you are seeing some sperms coming onto the egg here. So what process is happening here? And then when you get on over here, you are seeing the uterus pretty much with a zygote here. So you want to, of course, figure out what is happening there. Tell us in the chat what is happening at C and what is happening at D. Let me check to see what you have there. So D is implantation. Yes. So here we have one from Cat coming up again. Not that I'm picking anybody special, but as soon as I see something that persons can learn from easily, I am going to flow with that. And Cat has been here answering questions, and he would have learned how to answer the question to get picked. So don't blame me. So C there is fertilization and D implantation. Please be reminded that fertilization takes place in the fallopian tube, while implantation takes place in the uterus and ejaculation takes place in the vagina. Always be reminded of these salient points. Now, there is another scenario here that is in relation to what we did this morning when we were looking at the menstrual cycle. I spoke about the 3 phases of a menstrual cycle. Now we have a question on the menstrual cycle. I'm going to read it for you. It says, Mary has been having miscarriages during the first month of her pregnancy. First month of her pregnancy. First month of her pregnancy. Her doctor informed her that her ovaries or her ovarian hormone, her ovarian hormone level, which maintain pregnancy, are too low. Suggests to Mary which hormone is being referred to and explain how low levels of this hormone result in her miscarriage. So in essence, what is happening? Okay, persons are out of the block already. Okay, progesterone. So the answer is progesterone. But now you are going to tell us how this low level pretty much stimulates or cause this spontaneous abortion. How this low level of progesterone, how does it cause the abortion? Low levels of progesterone, how does it cause abortion or spontaneous abortion? All right, I'm seeing Prince. So let me look at what Prince has. All right, the progesterone level are low. Due to this, it causes the uterine lining repair. Lining repair is not maintained, causing for the uterine lining. I know where you are going, but I think you have made some mistake there. Low level of progesterone can lead to the walls of the uterus not being maintained very good to support the implantation. So the wall is too thin, it just doesn't have what it entails to support implantation. So that is what it does. Remember when we looked at the phases of the menstrual cycle, we spoke about the follicular phase, the ovarian phase, and the luteal phase. Now we're looking at the luteal phase there with the progesterone, and the progesterone would have been maintaining the development of the uterus wall. So in that first month of pregnancy thereabout, that is what is happening. If you're having that problem, you need to see a doctor. We spoke about spontaneous abortion this morning. We spoke about prenatal and postnatal care. And if you're having a problem like this, you could easily go to your doctor, medication be given, and you are going to be able to have your kid. But in some cases, persons are not going to clinic and they keep having miscarriages, because when they are going to the doctor, it is too late. So this is a prime reason why we should, of course, visit the doctor when we are expecting. All right, so there are some other questions over there. We're going to treat with those tomorrow morning, but I'm going to go into something else nice for you that you can do. So we still have some more questions in question number 2 that we'll try to treat with tomorrow sometime. So we are back with a diagram here. Look at this table, and let me just read the table for you before we get into it. Now, this is for you to make that distinction between cells. Now, remember last night when we were looking at section A of the syllabus, we spoke about fungi, we spoke about bacteria, and we spoke about virus. We also looked at specialized cells and generalized cells. Now you're asked to pull that knowledge from cells to populate this table. I'll read for you. Complete the following table by marking an X to indicate which structures are present in each cell. The first cell or the first row is done for you. So if you observe here, the first row is done for you. You are supposed to mark an X to indicate the presence. So let us get to the second row. For the second row, where would you put your X? So you are going to now write the name of, if the organ is present, you are going to write the name of the organ, write the name of the organism. What should we do? All right, write the name of the organism and put an X beside the organism if the organism has that organelle. So we're looking at the nucleus. So tell me, where are you going to put your X for nucleus? For nucleus, where are you going to put your X? Write it in the chat for me. For the nucleus, where are you going to put the X? Remember, the X indicates that the particular organelle is present. Where are you going to put your X? So we're going to put our X at animal and plant cell. Are you going to put the X at with the bacteria or just the animal and plant cell? Animal and plant cell. So you are suggesting here that the bacteria or bacterium has no nucleus. Is that a yes? The bacterium has no nucleus. Is that a yes? All right, so we have one answer there. Great. So the bacterium is a prokaryotic organism. It has no membrane-bound organelle. So it does not have a nucleus. The bacteria does not have a nucleus. It's a prokaryotic organism, hence it has no membrane-bound organelle. Membrane-bound organelle are for eukaryotic organism like mammals and birds and so on. All right? So you really don't want to make that mistake moving forward. The next thing we are going to be looking at is the cell wall. Where are you going to put the X for the cell wall? Where are you going to put the X for the cell wall? Tomorrow is the exam and some persons don't even know what an animal cell is, you know. An animal cell with a cell wall, so we don't know about the bacteria. Animal cell with a cell wall, come on, man, we need to do better than that, man. We need to do better than that. And then you guys don't know the bacteria, you know, and it is at the first part of the syllabus, you know. The bacteria has a cell wall. Only some person, only a few persons know that. I can't even send that video to you because it's too long. Guys, flip to the front part of your book and look at a bacteria. I suggest that you do. All right, let us continue. Mucous membrane. Look at that. Where are you going to put the X? Mucous membrane. Where are we going to put the X? You don't know about bacteria. You don't know about the cells. You need to go and look at them again. Mucous membrane. Where are you going to put the X? Mucous membrane. Where are you going to put the X? All right, so the answer is clear. Some of you don't know anything at all about cells. Cell is like the basic stuff you've been doing from primary school. I strongly suggest to you that when we finish this live tonight, you go and read on virus, bacteria, fungi, generalized plant cell, specialized plant cell, generalized cells, and specialized cells. Because based on what I'm seeing here on your responses, you know nothing about cells, which cell is a giveaway on an exam. So I don't understand how so many persons don't know anything about cells. You don't know the organelles for plant cell, you don't know the organelles for animal cell, you don't know what a virus look like, you don't know what it is, we have to treat with that, all right? So that's a weakness that you have that you would have discovered tonight that you need to address before the exam tomorrow. All right, let us really see if you really know anything about cell. So we are looking now at this cell. What type of cell is this? What type of cell is that? Tell me in the chat. What type of cell it is? May I be honest with you still, you know? May I be honest with you know? I never really see me laugh yet. The students tell me, say, me a man, me laugh still, you know? And this call for some laughing, you know, because you can't cry when you see them type of something, you know? Because when you see them type of something, you're like a obey somebody obey, you know? There, it could never be possible that tomorrow's exam and a man can't identify an animal cell, you know? It can't be possible. Something wrong that a obey, that a destruction. May I suggest to you get a bottle of olive oil and rub up your head. May I tell you get some fever grass and put in your shoes. If at this time you don't know plant cell different than animal cell, you need to go get some fever grass and some kananga water and something. Something wrong and a your fault. Obey them, obey you. Me I tell you, me I read a man. Me know when something wrong. Something wrong if at this time you don't know plant cell different than animal cell. Then if you don't know the first part of the syllabus, so you're going to know the second, man. No, brother, me have to wrap up my head with something, man. Teacher can't solve them a problem, them a problem, obey man problem, brother. If you don't know plant or animal cell, know what obey man something that a obey them, obey you, me I tell you. Me know. Go drink some water out of the fridge, go take out your book and go read the book on cells. That can broke off the obia. If you ever go read the book, the obia gone through the window. But as it is now, me know say obia, me know. Ask anybody in that room if you think I lie, me I tell. Ask anybody. Me can't even talk English now because it's a real bad something. Tomorrow exam. And the very first thing on the syllabus, students in here don't know. Me now custom have still know. Me just say, go get the book and look in my book. Go look in my book. Now make them a type of destruction you follow you go exam. And I hope the person who writing them stuff never did my live last night when me I talk about cells, you know. Because it'll be like last night is a wasted night. I don't want you to leave though. I want you to stay here because you're going to learn a thing or two. And I'm not going to 11 o'clock tonight because now that I realize persons don't know what is cell, you need to do some independent reading. All right? Because that is going to be more than likely on the exam based on the trend that we're seeing. All right? So let us just look at this. So how we knew it was an animal cell? Because everybody saw the central nucleus. So we just look at the central nucleus and without even looking at anywhere else, just seeing the central nucleus, we knew it was an animal cell. But if you were paying attention, you would have realized that it is written right above it, animal cell. I was deliberate and I was doing that. And don't think that me a mash you up still now. All me I said to you still now, big brother or mama. All me I said to you say, yo, drop on your textbook, brother. We'll look for cells now and look for the things that we don't know yet. All right? Me start a little extra sometime. Probably need some kananga water to me. I wait up myself. Just because me feel say, you know, me feel say them over me too, you know. God knows some me feel say them over me. But something must wrong, brother. I am sorry. Here, I am sorry. Let us just move on with this because the other thing I get to me, brother. Jesus, peace. And let me read this for you. All right. Match the labeled structure above with the function. So here we have some function. Wanna stop laughing and going, man. You know, so we can't deal with it no more time, man. All right. Here we are going to now match the. You don't watch them a laugh, because some of them will laugh and know nothing at all. Then they know A from Bullfoot. Then come like Mr. Wilson. All right. So let me tell you now. I want you to look at the diagram and look at what is labeled. Pay attention to it. Look closely. Because I'm going to be reading and you will have to tell me A, B, or C. Just let me just write out these bold for you. So this one over here is A. This one over here is C. And this one over here is B. All right? I tell you, something wrong with me. All right, great. All right, so I want you to identify A, B, or C. So now I'm going to read the functions for you, and you are going to tell me what is A, what is B, what is C. So here we go. You see what? Hey, Tanisha, where you there? A long time I don't see you, brother. All right. Ignore me here, please. I'm editing me. All right, great. Let me read. All right. It is saying here that it generates energy from the cell. What generates energy for the cell? Is it A, B, or C? A, B, or C? What generates energy for the cell? What generates energy for the cell? A, B, or C? Hey, you can't go into the exam go write where you want to write, you know. You have to write where the exam people them ask you. In a matter of fact, I don't even know what is mitochondria. The only thing I know about is A, B, and C. So tell me what generates energy for the cell. Is it A, B, or C? There it is. Don't tell me about any mitochondria because there's no mitochondria there. What is there is A, B, and C. And the paper was very specific, and you're going to follow the paper when you follow the instruction when you get to the exam. It said that you are supposed to match, and it goes as far as to say the function by placing the correct letter. It never say you must write any word. So pay attention to the instruction. Thank you very much. The room is lit. I tell you, someone could I get rid of the other man, you know. You see how nice up the thing now? All right. So let us go again. We are going to now look at that part that encloses the component of the cell. Which part of the cell here encloses the component? Is it A, B, or C? What enclose? Lord Jesus, you know, so them are obey you, man. Oh, you forgot write cell membrane. You see any cell membrane here, so no A, B, or C, you see, man? Why you write cell membrane? Who trouble you? Follow the instruction. The instructions say it should be letters that you are writing, not organelles. So don't write the name of any organelle. They didn't ask for any organelle. They asked you to identify them and attach A, B, or C. All right, great. We have to follow the instruction, man. All right. Now this one is going to be a little interesting because this one is involved in protein synthesis. Which one there is responsible for protein synthesis? And then you are going to realize that if you ever write those fancy words that you have been writing, you are in trouble. Why are we still getting A? Some persons late. Protein synthesis. All right, great. So let me just big up all the people and they know all of the fancy words that Mr. Wilson never know. Yes, A is the mitochondria, and B is the cell membrane, and C is something for us to agree on. All right, but you did wonderful there. The room is all lit. Everybody free up now. Oh, you thought that I was this Grinch? No, I am not this Grinch. I'm probably a Rinch. All right, great. So we have something else here that is on disease, right? And disease is from section D, but the syllabus did say that when we look at section E, we must link it to D, and when we look at up there, so we must link it D. So for that reason, I'm going to give you this disease question, but it is pretty easy. Yeah, it says ribosome, but as far as I know, the ribosomes are usually on the endoplasmic reticulum. But in this case, I don't know if if there's a teacher in the room, you can remind me if the ribosome sometimes become loose from the endoplasmic reticulum, because here it is not on the endoplasmic reticulum. But by default, that is what we probably would have to select. All right, I don't know if it's an error or what, but usually the ribosomes are on the endoplasmic reticulum. All right, let us read this one. You will have to listen carefully because I'm going to be calling about 4 persons' name that they contracted some disease, and you will have to decipher how they got the disease, who got what where. All right, so you have to pay attention to that. You know that these people who are laughing, you know that I strongly feel that we need some tuna or something because it look like the dopey catch uni, you know. All right, let us continue. Let us just read this. Let us just read this. My friend, we couldn't do cells. Me know say my master cells now. I'm sure of that. All right, here we go. So we have Chen, we have Shiv, and we have Dale. These are three friends. All right, they purchased similar lunches from a vendor, probably somebody at your school gate. Now, while eating, the boys notice mosquito larvae swimming in a vase of a flower on a nearby table. So there's a mosquito larva in the flower's vase. A friend joined them, and while greeting them, sneezed into his hands before shaking Chen's hand. So the man sneezed and then him shake Chen's hand. Now, after shaking Chen's hand, the boys finish the lunch, and listen, Chev washed his mouth in a nearby spring. Now, if you observe here, nearby spring is now going over to sewage, which is in section 3, which is in section E of the syllabus, which validates that this question could be a question that we see on the paper come tomorrow. Now, listen to what you are going to be doing now. Everybody's lit. I don't know. I don't know. I am sorry. I am sorry to the persons I tell about the fever grass. I am really, really sorry. Really sorry. I shouldn't have said that. All right. It is just that my screw got a little slack. All right. So listen to what happens now. 1 week later, all the boys are sick. 1 week after they met there and person sneeze and shake and persons wash out their mouth at the river. 1 week later, all three boys are sick. Listen, Chen has flu. So Chen has flu. Then Chef has contracted cholera. Chef has contracted cholera, and Dale now has malaria. Listen, this is a very easy question. Suggest how each boys would have contracted his disease. So 3 boys, 3 scenario. Tell me, I want you to tell me them. You can give me all of them one by one. Tell me how they contract the disease. Oh, lick bush tea, good feet. Okay, you're going to put milk in the bush tea or what? You can't just write mosquito. You have to say who contract what from where. Or lick bush tea without sugar. All right, yeah. So if you want to learn about cells, just drink a little bush tea without sugar, and you're supposed to be all right. Just take up the book, and you should be fine. All you can't sleep tonight. You make sure you sit down all night. If me or your parents, you have to sit down in front of me all night, brother. I'm sorry. And when I was doing CSEC, when I have exam, I don't sleep. I study all night, brother. All right, Chen would have contracted the flu from friend who sneezed in his hand and shook Chen's hand before washing his hands because of the droplets. All right, fair enough. Williams, we note. All right, we note that response. All right, let us go again. I don't know who is the first one. You see, I am teaching here even when I'm doing my nonsense, you know. So when I started and I gave it a precursor, you should have written down the names. All right, you have to learn to start filing things. All right, great. Not a problem though. Let's move on. Let's see what happens here. The malaria person got it from the mosquito. Yes. All right. Chen from exposure to the microorganism when he shook the hand. Yes. Yes. So yes. So agree where Chen get it. Let me hear about the other persons now. So Chen got the droplets for the flu when he shook the hand of his friend. He got the droplet on his hands. Very good. So let us hear from the malaria. Who got the malaria again? Who got the malaria? So Dale got the malaria from the mosquito that was there. I'm going to draw you out. Just wait. Stay there and laugh. Some people will laugh and talk about bush tea. Your time coming up. All right. So here we go now. So I agree about the droplets. I agree about the malaria. But what happens now to cholera? All right, great. What about the cholera? How this person got the cholera? Okay, the person, Aris, I see your comment there. The person got the cholera from drinking that contaminated water from the river. All right, so that is what the syllabus, that is what it was saying here in section E. It says the impact of health practice on the environment linked to infectious disease. So one infectious disease that we could talk about based on our infectious disease that are based on the environment, we could look at any one of these diseases coming back as an infectious disease that is as a result of the environment. So that's why I did that question. Let us move on. You are doing well so far. You're doing well so far. All right, except the root students in the class who are talking about bush tea. All right, so we are now going to list 3 possible symptoms that Shiv may have experienced. And Shiv is the person with the cholera. So the person with the cholera, we want to hear about 3 symptoms. 3 symptoms. Now we would have spoken about symptoms and sign many a times. Remember that symptoms are those that the patient or the affected individual would have to communicate to you. Signs are those that you can see or detect. So fever is a sign because you can see that, feel that the person is hot. You can use an instrument to determine that. Sore throat is a sign because the person can open their mouth and you can see the sore throat. So that's a sign. All right. So you want to make sure that you're seeing that. So I'm seeing a lot of things, and the amount of symptom, they might vary from time to time. So we're looking at cholera. So we are going to have stomach pain, and of course, we are going to have gastroenteritis. And gastroenteritis is pretty much an inflammation of the intestine. The person will also have diarrhea, and there's possibility of some fever, right? But we did say that fever is a sign. So here they are not asking only, they are not trying only to find out if you know the symptoms of the disease. They want to know if you understand the difference that there are between between sign and symptom. You need to know the difference between sign and symptom, and that's what they're checking with this question. Let's move right along. So we see that we have a lot of things to do. Suggest 3 preventative action that could have been taken to reduce the possibility of Dale contracting malaria. What can you do? What could have been done to prevent Dale from contracting malaria? What could have been done to prevent Dale from contracting malaria? Malaria is a protozoa. It's a protozoa that causes malaria, not a bacteria, if that's what you're saying. The protozoa is a plasmodium. So you could destroy mosquito breeding sites. Put something in the water to sterilize the water. I'm thinking that they are saying destroy mosquitoes. So we could put mesh at the window. Yes. Introduce fish in that flower pot or that vase. Yes. By wearing mosquito repellent, that is plausible. Pouring oil in the water might be a tricky one. All right, great. So pretty much most of us would have gotten the concept of this question. The question is not even much about Dale. The question is pretty much about what can we do to safeguard ourselves from being bitten by mosquito. So what do we do to rid the environment of or to reduce the number of mosquito? So all of those things like fogging, net, all of those stuff that is applicable to this situation, you would have been called upon to use as answer. So you could do, of course, frequent washing of the vase. If you had washed the vase frequently, you would have gotten rid of the egg. You could have had net or mesh on the windows. You could have also used repellent, and of course, the area could have had frequent fogging to, of course, kill uh, the mosquitoes. Now, this one is going to be a little technical, and I am going to now give you a video again to watch because I don't want you to. You want the video or you don't want the video? What is the video on? The video again is on immunity. I have shown you that video 50 times since day. So have you learned enough that you can answer this question? Or I need to show you the video 50 more times for you to know immunity? I want the video. So I want the video. I'm going to look for the video and I am going to give you the video and you watch that video and then you are going to come back. I'm going to give you this question, but we are going to break now just for you to fetch some water from the fridge. And then you watch the video. While the video is playing, you can hear and see there are some pictures there that you want to ensure that you are following the pictures because the pictures are the examples that you are supposed to be. Those examples should help you to relate to what is happening with the type of immunity. So the video is 11 minutes and 14 seconds. Enough time for the person who didn't know anything about cell to know everything about cell while they multitask. All right? So I'm not hitting you, my friend. I love you just like anyone. I am just doing my antics to make sure that you realize that this is something that I might need to shape up on. I have to take it serious tonight, if no other night. All right? So don't feel too mad at me or too bad at me. I'm sorry if I hurt you. I really didn't want to do that, but I really wanted to drive home that salient point that there are some things that we should know by default. It shouldn't be like the night before exam that we don't know some simple stuff. All right? And that is the first part of the syllabus. Everybody would know that. Why everybody would know it? Because we have been doing cells from primary school. So forgive me. I do hope that I didn't hurt you too much. All right, there I would have sent the link. So we are going to come back at 8:55. We are going to rejoin at 8:55 for this question. We are going to do this question. Then you need to get your book and pencil. We don't know what will be on the paper for genetics. We are going to finish this paper. Then we are going to do some continuity and variation. Then we are going to go to the May, June 2000 paper before we go to bed. So we would have done 3 papers tonight and we have just 2 more to do because usually I say you need a minimum of 5 papers that would have given us our 5 years worth of past paper. So I hope that we now all have the video on immunity. Let's go and watch it. All right, so watch that video on immunity. And then we are going to come back here. What time did we say? Guys, just pay attention to what is happening. 8:55. Pay attention. Please don't use the time to use the time wisely. I hope you have your textbook right beside you now. That doesn't mean that person we have now. Someone who never went through the room and then like they're reading me. They should have been here from the start, like last week. Read that then we can know a lot of things. I'm really can't start over again. Like let's go in. What am I do? Put this up in front of you. Oh, sorry. Put this thing on the floor on the sofa or you want it? On the floor? Oh, students? Some of them are here, but I think we have over 300 persons in the room now. All right, so for those persons who are not watching the video, I want you to quickly read on pit latrine because we have pit latrine as the last question on the 2018 paper, and pit latrine is from section E of the paper. Remember, we asked you to look at the activated sludge method and the aeration method for sewage, commercial sewage treatment. I have a video on all that they should know for HSB cells. All right. right, let me look for that. The person is having a problem here with cells. That should be able to help them. Um, just prepare exactly, though the textbook should help. I think this video should probably provide some amount of assistance for the persons who are not where they should be, where cell is concerned. It's sort of frightening to me, though. I'm sorry.
Maybe with them.
No, it's not one person.
But there's like hundreds.
Well, if the person doesn't know, then we just have to try to assist them. So we would have had about 2 questions plus 2 other papers we need to do tomorrow, and I'm going to see where the syllabus take us into genetics. Of course, we'll have to do mitosis tonight again. We did mitosis night before last night, don't it? We did mitosis twice. Well, I did it twice. What? And I said, whatever time I did, or wherever I did it twice. All right, this is going to be our video on cells that is made specifically for HSB. So that's a video on cells for HSB. It's a long video. It's about 29 minutes. You're not going to watch that now. You can just spin it and watch it at your leisure. Let me just get you another video, the video that is on microbes. So that's for the person who is struggling with cells. So that's the best that I can do for you now. Just give you that video, and that should bring you up to speed with the things that you are supposed to know for CXC. All right, so that video was built for CXC. And then I'm going to give you a cell that is built for CXC, and this is for microbes. So you got one for cells, and then you are going to have the full explanation here for microbes. Owing to the fact that I don't know what will be on CXC, I am pretty much just preparing based on the document that we got from CXC as to what will be there tomorrow. So I just gave you cells. Now I'm going to be giving you microbes. So the microbes would include the